We got to finesse this copper over in a manner that we're able to attach down here. Okay. The little blades on them get worn out.
Yeah.
Depending on what you've been cutting. I know that you can change them out on some models, but the little tool's only, you know, $7 or $8, so you're not gonna go wrong by just buying a whole new one. To be absolutely pristine when we introduce them into the machine. That includes the line, that includes the coils. Everything has to be. As a matter of fact, the refrigeration copper is of a different sort than the plumber's copper. And so it's critical to have. Okay. Wherever it ends up, I'm able to straighten it out and then fasten it for the earthquake code. I mean, they have hydraulic and they probably have electrical too for several $100s, but this little guy right here, like 15. And once you have it all locked into place, and you can see the blade in there working, we're gonna flare out our copper. On the end there, and how the screw comes over the threads, it'll fasten onto the orifice there, the flared end, like so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We have our sealant all, not only on the threads, but we want it on the back side here. It doesn't take a whole lot. You can spin it around, then on the threads. And then I like to put a little right as a gasket, right on the smooth part. And then if you don't care for your stuff, it'll make a big mess everywhere. And this part can be the hardest part of the whole thing, is getting this guy to thread on there. And sometimes we need to put our machine in their proper position so that it will thread. I want to be careful not to cross thread.
Replacing the spark plugs in my Model A, they were cross-threaded when I removed them. I got them in, and it's running great. Well, at the moment, it's in storage.
Go. Service port is here. So we're come out and take our readings from the refrigerant. That's our service port, and these are our inlet valves. We open these up. There's a key that fits inside there to allow the refrigerant to pass through the machine and into the other side. And then there's a reversing valve in here that'll switch directions of the refrigerant. And these in here are king valves. So any of this stuff gets cross-threaded, we've got to replace the whole valve, which means burning it onto our compressor in there, and it's a big job.
Yeah. Oh, I see. The cable got connected during my lunchtime.
Yeah, I put a couple straps over there, and got the drain and the low voltage wire and the earthquake strap on the other side. And on these particular ductless machines, they require us to use a adapter as opposed to the old-fashioned way. Now they've changed things around so that you can't use your old tools. And so I have this little bucket of adapters here. And this is the particular one I've grown to accustomed to. It's a 5/16 female because they used to be 1/4. And so my hose is going to be a 1/4 female. You can see the difference in size.
Oh, yeah.
And so I need to take a 1/4 male and 5/16 female for the machine. And I like these ball valves because they hold back the pressure while I change my hose. And so, very convenient ball valves. All this is nitrogen that we're going to hook up to our machine. And we're not really hooking it up to the machine, we're hooking it up to the lines that were just installed. Remember, we have these king valves on each line that are blocking us from going into the machine. So anything I put into the service port is just going into the line right now. And it's going to go inside to the indoor machine and come back down to this side of the valve. And we're going to load all that up with nitrogen, and we're going to check for leaks. And the reason that we're using nitrogen now is because this is really clean air. Nitrogen is part of the air that we breathe. And we want it to be really clean because the copper that will be holding the refrigerant, it's necessary for it to be very clean. And air, as you may or may not know, is also moisture. Moisture is construction's enemy. It doesn't matter if it's wood, metal, you name it, it doesn't like moisture. And so we're using the nitrogen to keep the pipe clean, and then we're going to vacuum out all of this very clean air in order to remove any moisture that might be in there. And we'll load the refrigerant into a vacuumed, conditioned pipe. And so really that's what it's doing. It's reconditioning the pipe as we look for leaks. So we're going to hook our nitrogen up. And I need to tighten that. When we have a blowtorch, like in a acetylene tank, we want to use air and gas to create the fire. In this case, all we're using is the air portion of it. And all it is it's non-flammable until we add a flammable gas. But when we use a flammable gas, it is necessary to also put it together with air in order to create our flame. Now, I can get the acetylene torch out and we can get up to like 2,500 degrees, but we don't need to do that as of right yet. Looking for leaks. So, fancy setup we got going on here. And I want to make sure all of our other connections are nice and tight, or that might trick us into thinking that there is a leak when there really isn't. And all of our other connections need to be nice and tight. We don't want to be mistaken about the leak. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use my ball valves. I'm going to make sure all my valves are shut. I'm going to crank this guy on. Then I am going to get my pressure up on my nitrogen tank. You can see the pressure rising as I crank down on it. And we're up over 3,000. And so we're going to go ahead and let that go into the machine. You see how we got to be careful not to... See what I mean? We got to make sure. Okay, into the machine it goes. I'm going to let it fill up. And we're using our high pressure hose. And we're going to get it up to, what is that? Like almost 475. And what I like to do is we'll turn it off on this side. Stopping the air. And what I like to do, so there we are at 450. And I like that number, nice even number. Let's go ahead and leave it be at 450. And I'm going to check the time. Now I know that this machine isn't going to leak because I hardly ever have leaks to toot my own horn. But according to the books, 1226, we want that thing not to budge from 450 for, let's say, 10-15 minutes. The way the book tells you to do this part, now this is from the old-fashioned way of doing things, because the new books, the way they're telling you to do it, the books that come with any of the machines, is that you skip this part with leak checking and you go to the vacuum and you leave your tools on connected to the machine for 24 hours. And that way, if you lost your vacuum, if we lose our vacuum, then we know that there's a leak.
Okay.
But I'm not going to leave my tools here at your house for 24 hours and come back and get them tomorrow. So I'll know that this leaks immediately. I would know because of these couple of connections at 3,000 PSI, 450 is on this pipe. The machine only operates at 650. So I would instantly know, and I would instantly know not only that there's a leak, but also where that leak is, because it'd be hissing at us. It'd be all at 450, and since that isn't happening right now, it's not going to leak. But we're going to leave it there for a few minutes just to make sure, because that's the way I was taught when we were back in the old days. Held the pressure for 10-15 minutes. We're going to let all that air out and change our hose over to the vacuum, and I will put this nitrogen away and go get our vacuuming machine. I'll pick it up from there. Now that all the air has been let out of the system, we're going to hook up our service hose back to our machine. This time we're going to use the other side because we have vacuum on the other side, on the low side. So we're going to use the blue hose. There we go. And make sure our high side shut down nice and tight so that we hold the vacuum now. You can just tell by the sound of the machine that it's vacuuming, and sometimes you can even see a little bit of moisture coming out. See a little bit of fog. That's the moisture getting sucked out. And we've got such a small system that we reached our negative 30 microns pretty quickly, and you can tell by the sound of your vacuum machine that it's maximum. I mean, we're gonna start collapsing copper tubing if we don't shut it down. And so my vacuum pump's not powerful enough to do that, but we have reached our 30 microns, and that's what's gonna get the moisture out.
Interesting. So you haven't collapsed a copper line before, huh?
No, and I've had bigger vacuum pumps than this one. We are in a vacuum state. We are still holding a vacuum here at negative 30 micron, and I'm about to release refrigerant that comes in the machine. I'm about to release it into the copper tubing and fill up the coil that's on the inside, and you can hear it whoosh as we go and do this. That sound we hear, that is all the refrigerant that came in the machine. It's been released and it came back down this side. And sometimes when I release the other side, we get another whoosh because there's pressure behind this guy, and sometimes it likes to whoosh out the other side too because it's on the other side of the piston that's going up and down in there. And so sometimes there's pressure behind it. Just a little bit.
What I hear is the wind.
Well, okay, and that might be the case. But we have a reading on here that tells us how much refrigerant is in the machine.
Okay.
And that's what we release. So right now, once the electrician comes along and powers up our machine, it's ready to turn on. If these valves were shut, you would ruin the machine.
Oh.
With the powering up the compressor and the compressor pushing refrigerant with it nowhere to go, that would make the machine fail. And so we're ready to go when the electrician gets here, and that is something that you're not going to get every day, where the electrician and the heat and air guy are cooperating.
Oh, okay.
Our sleepy little town is building like crazy.
Yeah, Sequim is, well, I hate to say it's becoming, there we go.
So that little squirt is common when we take our valves off.
That was just nitrogen?
No, that was a little bit of refrigerant.
Oh, okay.
And that is common whenever we come out in service. That's going to happen. We're going to have a little squirt while we unthread. And by rule, we are doing the best we can with the tools that they have prepared us to do this job with. There's going to be a little squirt. Concerning the refrigerants and people who are unlicensed making the purchase of refrigerants and refrigerant products, I'm surprised that it's so accessible by the general public, because there is a reason why technicians go to school to learn this stuff. It's very dangerous for the ozone. And even though the new refrigerants are safer than they have been in the past, it's still depleting the ozone. It's what's known as chlorofluorohydrocarbons, and in their solid form, they pretty much are it's like styrofoam. Except when it comes to refrigerants, it's in an oil form. And when the oil comes in contact with the air, the oil evaporates. Now, that's not something that you see every day, is oil evaporating into thin air. But that's what happens with the refrigerants, and it's very, very dangerous. One of the most dangerous things in the environment. So if anybody who wants to get a ductless system or any kind of refrigerant products, make sure you know how to keep the stuff contained with the tools that are provided in order to keep our environment safe. I get emotional about the environment, and when we look at the condition of the planet, I know it's not just the refrigeration industry that's destroying the planet, but it's in bad shape. And so we want to do our best, do the best job we can to preserve our environment.
One last tight to make sure it's not going to be
Leaking. That's
leaking.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then Orlando will power it up, and I'll see when he's walking by tomorrow and say, "Hey, Orlando." He walks his dog right in front of our house every day. The ductless heat pump is all installed. That was fun to watch and in part participate. It's going to work out just fine here. Can't wait to turn it on.